G'day, punters. Welcome to Victims of the Punt. Mark Rhoden, myself, and Pistol Hutcho, Pete Anthonisz, here to preview the exciting meeting at the Gong, where a notable local celebrity will come out with a big device to smack the gong to announce that the race is about to be run. We come to this meeting off the back of a juicy, and I'd actually say a pretty fat and good meeting at Newcastle, which is probably New South Wales' #1 track these days. Let's look back firstly to the Hunter and to Newcastle. Mark Rhoden from readybet.com.au. Download the app, gamble responsibly. How'd you find Newcastle and the Hunter?
Mixed bag for me personally. The market got the Hunter right. They narrowed it down to Valana and in the Congo, and they cleared out. The others, they were superior. I thought I graded myself up and thought it was a bit more even than that, but the two best horses cleared out, and Valana went to that new level. We were pretty sure that he had him in him anyway, and he was very good in the Congo. Back to 1300, ran well also. I had a bit of luck earlier in the day when I heard that Kay McAvoy wasn't riding and Joe McDonald was replacing him on a horse called Floating in the Midway, and took a little bit of the $10. Started 480 and won by about 6, which was pleasant. Doesn't happen all the time, but yes, just pay attention to those late jockey changes.
And also, those of you out there who follow along at Koch and Soda on Twitter, get in touch. Mark said the first person or the best message he receives on Twitter tonight will get a Ready Bet hoodie. Do you want to just jump up and show
yeah.
The Ready Bet hoodie?
Although I'm not. If I saw someone who didn't work for a bookmaker getting around in bookie merch, that's a bit Checkie's hard drives, isn't it? That's not.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
And also, just back onto Twitter, if you go onto the Koch and Soda tag, you'll see that he operated the midweek masterclass with what I thought was fine, but he was very, very upset, punters, about the way his hair was represented. That looks like it's fresh. It's been blow dried a little bit and a bit of product through it.
Correct, but it wasn't. I didn't mind, but I've been on SEN, 250 times since you introduced me to Gareth a couple of years ago or a year ago, whenever it was. And never once has there been video on any of those clips. And I just copped on the Zoom yesterday. They wanted to do it on Zoom. It's no problem. Said my piece, tipped a winner that was 3 into 240, whatever.
Someone's been hanging out with Curly too long.
But then, the video, I had a look at the clip after the races and there's a video and I hadn't done it. I'll know for next week.
What a man. Hutcho, how's Perth?
It's very good. Christmas time, railway stakes coming up. Winterbottom next week looks outstanding. I think Valana, as you just mentioned, might be coming across for possibly the Winterbottom as well as the Gold Rush, which will be week 4. We haven't had 4 weeks of the carnival previously, so a bit of extra spice this year. So it's been an inauspicious start. Hopefully the track plays well. There's a bit of rain outside at the moment, so hopefully that means they leave the taps off over the next 48 hours and Ascot plays perfectly on Saturday. But
my mail is you've hired a personal trainer, and I believe that might be linked to a couple of riders who are headed west for the carnival.
Absolutely not. No need to hire a personal trainer. Just find yourself a good gym and motivate yourself. The only person who can do this stuff is you. And by you, I'm referring to you in the second person, which is me.
Which riders are headed over for the carnival? Are any?
I believe Damien Oliver's coming across at some point. He might be riding in the
He's riding at Ballarat on Saturday.
Yep, so he won't be there this week. Baron Dvorster, the world's biggest shins
in racing.
He is riding for Tony McAvoy this weekend, and Lockie Neindorf is riding for Ironclad in the railway. So there's a couple of interstaters, but there's likely to be a few extras, I'm sure, joining the party over the next few weeks. So much cash.
Yeah, well, I've just got an idea for that race. Anything else we should sort of catch up on? All right, let's talk about readybet.com.au. Download the app, gamble responsibly. So many phenomenal promos that we can't talk about, but if you're an account holder and part of the team there, you do get to access them in good time. What's on this week and anything else of interest at readybet.com.au. Download the app, gamble responsibly.
Gamble responsibly, as always. There's stuff every day. There was a big NBA one yesterday, which, it was
a one by the sound of that.
It did well. It was a double, and it picked by a total 2.5 points over 2 games. It was that exciting, and we're betting well over the odds for.
How much NBA did you watch in the last year and a half? Well, 44 years and a half.
Not much.
How much are you watching yesterday?
Yeah. Watch the last quarter of the San Antonio game. That was, it was all about the margin, nothing to do with the result. And then a half a point in that game, and no joy. But there's stuff like that every day. Really good stuff. Variety of Sports got the World Cup starting next week as well, so we'll be pumping some stuff into that as well. But racing every day and sports quite on as well. Good stuff. It's exciting.
We talk Mailbag Bloodstock, where I don't know if you're aware, Peter, but I spent a fair bit of money today with Shane, almost $250,000 on a Savabeel filly, who's a 3/4 sister to Brambles, who's a Group 1 winner, Queensland Derby, placed in the Caulfield Cup. Just beautiful little filly. We used Tom Wilson's Racing Squared pedigree analysis and biomechanical analysis throughout the sale. We also bought a done deal gelding. They both head to Jesus Gavin Bedgood. If you're interested, which have already had a lot of interest, thank God, contact Jono, JONO at themailbag.com.au. But again, really happy with what we bought. Bit of money, but that's just what they're worth now. The filly certainly has some residual value, and the done deal was like a top 10 walkers at the sale on his analysis, and was a top 20 breeze up time at the sale. So I think we've done pretty well. Time will tell. But if you're interested, Jono at themailbag.com.au. Now on to Kembla. Firstly, I was on this morning with G Hall, SEN. Talking about G Hall a little bit here, aren't we? I asked him, I said, mate, you got one job. Like, you're the journalist here. Who's smacking the gong? He didn't know. Do you guys know who's smacking the gong?
I don't. And if I was speaking to Gareth, I'd ask him which local Chinese restaurant are they borrowing the gong from this year too. That would be my next question.
Yep, very important. Hopefully it's the Veronicas or something like that, But a bit of double gong action.
Calm down, Peter. We don't want to have to edit this show. Maybe they might fly some drones into the thing. What's the weather look like, Mark Rhoden, for this big meeting, this big Saturday Metro meeting at the Gong? Kembla Grange, for those playing at home, called the Gong.
Wollongong, beautiful one day, perfect the next, good for rail true, all sweet in the Gong for Saturday, the big day.
Pistol, what does that mean pattern-wise, baby?
No idea, but from the data I've looked at, it looks pretty even for the most part. So do your speed maps, get them right, and you should be picking the horses in the right position as a result.
Yep.
Mark Rhoden?
Conceptions here. Just I'm back in the true, fair-ish. The last couple of times in the true on, soft 5 or better, it's been pretty fair. Nothing wrong with on pace, but can make ground. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Righto, race 7, the Warra 1,000-metre sprint. They've already bet Malkovich $370, Bruckner $750, Athelric $8, $6.50 Dragonstone, $11 a Very Fine Red, $15 Remlatch Joy, $13 1 Diva. I almost nailed it. A whole longer the rest. Mark, are you taking on cuddling any here?
Pretty similar. I don't think we're actually sticking our neck out on anything. I am a couple of roughies. The two blue roughies, Athelric and Callis, I'm a little bit under the rest of the market.
We're going to look at a replay now of Malkovich, who is run down late by Clemenceau, over 1,100 metres on Big Dance Day or Melbourne Cup Day.
Yeah,
Malkovich, the leader there.
Malkovich leading. This was 1,100 at Randwick up the rise too, getting driven mad by good old Space Boy in front. They've gone very hard here. Clemenceau at Ready Bet, we stood for a stack, and he just had the perfect run in behind them with 50 kilos on his back and came off Space Boy's back, slingshotted past poor old Malkovich, who got tired in the last 100. Still a very good run, I thought. There's, Dragonstone sort of running on into 5th as well, but out of that race, I'd have to be with Malkovich.
Malkovich was coming 1,000-metre Moya, where he was absolutely slaughtered by Rachel King there. Up to 1,100, now back to 1,000 of the Warra. The next replay number 2, it's the horse on the comeback trail, Bruckner. This is its trial at Hawkesbury. This horse almost won a Coolmore. Almost started 100s that day, but did almost win it. Where is he? Outside lead, 3 wide here?
Yeah, he's in the Aquas colours, is he not? Going to the front now, 3 or 4 wide. Look, all I can glean from this trial is he's going okay. He's done this pretty stylishly. He's beaten, like, JoJo was a man who's like a 14 plus sort of horse. Not really a speed machine, and it's only a 760 metre trial, and he ran second to him. But look, he moved nicely here. He wasn't asked to do much, and he accounted for them pretty comfortably. I mean, you're probably even more of a trial watcher than me. What do you make of that? The last 100's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of elbow movement just to make sure he's trying. He's potentially an extremely valuable horse. He's still an entire by Snitzel. God, imagine if I had won the Coolmore. I'd say it's a really, really exciting preparation for this horse. This is sort of be chips in stuff from stable and its owners, Peter.
Yeah, I just thought it had a bit of a setup as well, just given the trial. They obviously looked like they've earmarked this race. It's won fresh previously at the track. That was over 1,200 from memory, but look, at over 1,000. I don't think it's going to cause too many concerns. And there's not a huge amount of speed in this race either. I've got Malkovich finding the front. I think Threlrick will basically just take a sit. So Bruckner just settles outside of the lead there, and Malkovich. And unless like Yuan Diva or Remlat's Gem or something like that gets really excited, I think that's pretty much it.
Remlat's Gem's the one that could even lead the whole race. He's a very fast horse, leads over 900 a lot. But something happened up in Queensland last night. I think he missed the start. He settled midfield or worse last time, but he generally leads. That was the sort of thing worrying me about Malkovich, is if Remlat's Gem got outside him. I think the others will be happy to trail those two.
Yeah, he's an interesting horse, Bruckner. Like he won his maiden there, Peter. That was his maiden. Then he went to Caulfield, won. Then he went to Danehill Stakes, got beaten by Calla. Like it's just he beat Artorias at Caulfield. He started $3.50 in the Black Opal on debut, so there's obviously like an opinion on him the whole way through. He's a fascinating horse.
Beaten Artorias over the.
Mark, what are your thoughts this race? We'll run through your top five while we're doing it.
Yeah, I've ended up with Malkovich on top, but not a bet at the price. As I said, look, Thelrick and Kalos. Thelrick, I think, wants it softer, but it's just beautifully weighted and beautifully mapped here. It's got a claim for good old Zach Lloyd, who's riding plenty winners in New South Wales. And as Pete mentioned, we'll just get the trail off him. To get really excited about him, I would want it wetter, but I think he's going to get every chance. And Kalos get this SP profile from whatever that race was down the straight when he was coming down the outside, 450 in that race.
You've taken all my gear off me. My research I did. Kalos started a third of the price of Bruckner in the Coolmore.
Oh, there you go. I hadn't gone back for 12 months to pick that up, but thank you. We'll add that, throw that into the bag as well.
Let me make sure I'm right there. So Coolmore Stud Stakes, Kalos started $15 and Bruckner started $81.
So it's almost the sixth of the price. So, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and a good horse on his day. Kalos in a fast run 1,000 suits him. He won at Warwick Farm before 3 starts back before going to Melbourne. Back to Sydney way, fast run 1,000. I don't think he should be $21 in places. I think that's too big.
J-Car off, King on.
Sorry. King. Got to take the odds for something at that price range.
He's an interesting horse, Kalos, Pete. Like he's one that sort of always looks a bet on the way we work. As you start the process of refining the rating and the price.
Yeah, I've backed him a couple of times so far this preparation. I just didn't necessarily love the map here. I was wanting to find things that just drew a bit more forward. I suspect they'd probably ride him worse than midfield. So I was happy to just like try and work around him. I ended up going with Bruckner on top, just with the speculation there. Nice map, obviously won first up at the track last preparation, so it just looks like he's on track. Yeah, on the lead was the horse that I thought was a really big price, drawn soft there from gate one. Just did some nice things there and has won at the track previously as well. Malkovich in for third, and then Key Largo, Duan Diva. If they get the right run, they can possibly be thereabouts as well. So just a couple of bets there around the favourite, not laying Malkovich by any stretch, but just happy to have a few small bets in the race.
I thought that Malkovich is going to be extremely hard to beat up on speed and truly hope he is taken on. I think if he's gifted the lead, he just won't stop. I think the Moya form's good form for this. And then back to 1,000 metres is a big tick. I think Bruckner is probably the most exciting horse run around on Saturday. He could have proper upside or he could just be a myth. We sort of find out. I think barrier 12, the way he jumped out, he's going to roll forward. It's a perfect barrier for a colt too. So if he's half slow or a bit plays up, he can still be put on the job. I'm with Peter though. I'm not getting $230 to one.
Good
I
typo,
wish
that
I
one.
was. I think on the leads, like a real sneaky chance to run a big race. It's going to get a really nice suck run behind the speed. Positive jockey switch. I think it's a big player. I thought American President and Key Largo were also two juicier horses with some claims. If you want to put them into sort of exotics or something like that, I thought they could both run decent races, particularly American President, who's just going to get a soft run. Just worse in midfield.
You both become weight drop disciples on the lead from 60 down to 54 or something. That what pushed you over the edge, was it?
Wasn't aware of that. Were you, Peter?
Negative.
Righto. Let's head to race 8, the Gong, over a mile. Ready bet market, please, Mark Rhoden.
Yeah, okay. Right, those under 20s, we've got 3 Promise of Success at 15, 4 Rustic Steel, 8.50, 6 Surf Dance at 17, down to 8 the favourite, Old Flame at $6, 9 Skylab at 21, 11 Oscar Zulu, the Goulburn Cup winner at 13, number 12 Hope in Your Heart, the local at $7, 13 Brutality $7.50, 14 Purple Sector 13, 15 Love at 20, 16 Riadini back from a top class weight for age race at $9.50, and a couple of emergencies, Steel and Kiss some around the 19 to 20 mark, but unlikely to get a run.
Peter, thoughts on the speed map?
I've got Riadini didn't lead last start, but gets Tim Clark here and steps up in distance. So I thought Eton Surf Dance, the 2 stablemates, would be the 2 to try and basically lead this event. I think the rest of them just basically fold in behind them. Purple Sector Colding probably sit next with Rustic Steel, just given their inside draws. Not sure what they do with horses like Oscar Zulu, Kerwin's Lane, Love Tap, Just Folk. They'll have to make a decision early because otherwise they're going to get stuck through wide and cast. So I thought Riadini found itself in a good spot here.
There's Riadini in the Nature Strip Stakes getting gapped.
He's not getting gapped. Look at his last 50. He takes around off a few nice horses there in the last 50. He was just getting warm at the end of the 1300 there.
He made me look bad there. As I said, gapped, he sort of came again. But Private Eye put a hole in him. Private Eye, one of the most exciting horses in the country. So it's a pretty strong form reference, you'd think. Mark Rhoden, the next replay we're going to look at is Old Flame winning the Lithgow. I think it's the Lithgow Stakes at Flemington.
Yeah, strong win this. He was off the back of this when they were putting all-in markets up on this field, on this race. He was clear favourite around as short as $4. He's come up with barrier 19 before scratchings, and he is now out to $6. But there was nothing wrong with this win, was there? Is that Poland he's going past?
Who can run a race on a day?
Big gap to third.
Yeah. What price do you think he starts?
Look, depending on how the track's playing, if they start winning down the middle, or the fence is off or something, which I don't expect, but if that happened, he could shorten. But as it stands, where he's going to have to have a bit of luck to get a good run from 19, you'd think I can't see him shortening.
The third horse there was Ironclad, who was a pretty good run in the Cranbourne Cup, and is going to be, I think Peter's going to tell you, competitive on Saturday in a very good race in Perth, Pete.
Yeah, would have thought so. Would have thought he's one of the leading contenders just based on his likely speed map. So it's not a bad little race that Old Flame's coming through.
Mark Rhoden, run us through your top 5 for the Gong, time honoured.
Yeah, my top 5. Hope in Your Heart. This horse is airborne. Won the Yanks Stakes against her own sex 2 starts ago. She'd won 2 or 3 in a row before that too. Just really going through the grades this time in. Then has come out and run 4th in the $10 million Golden Eagle behind I Wish I Win. There is nothing wrong with that form at all. As I said, on her home track. Drawn middle.
That's as strong as any form.
I think so, yeah. And I think she gets an okay run from 12 or 13 midfield somewhere.
What price would I Wish I Win start if it went back in time now to like the grouse 600 metre race at Flemington? Right, isn't it?
Question without notice. What one? Blood?
Seriously, take it. I think
he started shorter than Alligator Blood in the Toorak, so
yeah,
can't be that long, can it? Yeah. Anyway, yes, Hope in Your Heart is on top, on her home track in exceptional form, and 750 is backable. I think. Old Flame saw that win, very good win at Flemington last start. The barrier is the worry. Rustic Steel, inaugural big dance winner at Randwick. it was a pretty high rating race on my figures, beating Cisco Bay, who's flying as well. Look, I think I know this is a big race as well, but I think he was really primed for that $2 million race, and we're now maybe an afterthought territory, but if he reproduces that, he can win for sure. Oscar Zulu will be up on the speed. Good win in the Golden Cup last start, has a chance. Brutality, probably wants it wetter. I was trying to give it a chance in the Hunter last week. It didn't really do much, but it's up to a mile, which is, I suppose, his best trip. And he's got the old Joe Pride blinkers back on, which used to be a bit of a signal out of that camp that today's the day.
The Golden Cup form's not too bad. Cold Crusher or something came out of that. And beat Wahaha Falls last week, which I think you can sort of stamp positively until you prove otherwise.
Nothing wrong with that. I will just say on Brutality, I couldn't get as short as 750, but just that old J Pride blinkers on Earl, which is going to give him some sort of chance.
And my top 5 is I'm with Old Flame. I'm trusting my eye. He was very well backed to knock off. Surf Dancer. Surf Dancer beat him, but there was a lot of steam for Old Flame. There was steam for Old Flame at Caulfield when J Carr got flushed out the back of the surf, and there was solid steam and just a big gutsy win at Flemington. I think the horse is airborne, and there's a big opinion of it. I think you just get a better price because of the gate. This is, back end of a long day. Who knows how the track's racing? Trust the best horse. Rustic Steel's airborne, completely airborne, and it's going to get a really good run. Riadini for the same reasons the boys mentioned. I don't know what the market will do with it. I'd be fascinated to see what the market does with it. Comes out of a really strong race. And I thought the 2 best roughies in the race were Kerwin's Lane. I just think John O'Shea's airborne and can sort of get him to improve out of nowhere. And Just Folk is a very decent horse. The wetter, the better. But a good horse with good Melbourne form, a tricky barrier, and just God bless it for going here and not going to the Kilmore Cup on Sunday.
I just think they're about 5 track conditions away from what he wants, Just Folk. I think he'd rather a 9 than a 4.
Yeah, that's fair. But he's still a decent horse. And Melbourne form stood up all through the Sydney Carnival.
True.
Briadini on top for me. Just think the horse can map more forward here, and I've been impressed with the splits it's been running when settling rearward in the first 2 starts this prep. Rustic Steel maps well, running good enough figures. Form looks pretty decent. Oscar Zulu, if it finds a spot early, that has claims. Promise of success is just running good splits. And Love Tap is one at a much bigger price, drawn horribly, but I don't mind the form and the strength of the races overall in terms of the ratings that they've been running of late. So that
left our Old Flame just completely off the list.
Can't have them all. And at
the price.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a quick trivia question before we go? Riadini's, I think, been in the country 2.5 years in Australia. Guess how many races he's won in Australia?
1.
0. Correct.
Still always been.
First time for everything.
Yeah. He has run second to Very Elegant and horses like that. He never won.
Well, Saturday might be the day. He might get sort of switched on by the gong getting smashed. Might take him back. Best and value bets, please, lads, to finish off the show. Mark, your best.
Bella Rouge, absolutely given no chance behind Short Shorts at Rose Hill last start. Bit D-Day-ish, I think. It's like the market and everyone, I think, will be getting sick of her, but I think this is her chance. She's drawn a lot better. She should get a good run. And I think it's a winnable race for her.
Half stake now, half stake later?
Yeah. Why not?
I'm with Nugget to win race 9. I thought he was a very good run at Flemington. I think a lot more was expected of him than what he did. I think he'll improve off it and be very, very hard to beat in race 9. Pistol?
Yeah, I'm with Brock now. I just like the price that we're getting, given the setup for the horse. I quite like it. And Colette rides well for Mark Eustace.
Mark Eustace, the colt. And our value bets for the weekend.
You're with On the Lead, Dicko. I'm with Alice, same race. We've spoken about those horses at a bit of length already. Rob got in touch. He couldn't be on the show due to commitments with, I believe it's soccer, but he did get in touch to say that Delexo was his best value on the program in the benchmark 1,000-metre race 4. The $13 at time of writing, but there's been a couple of scratchings, but it's still $9.
He's moving markets for Birdos Scuzz.
Yeah.
Pistol with Rio Dini.
Yes, indeed.
Enjoyable show, guys. Don't forget, download the ReadyBet app today, readybet.com.au. Gamble responsibly, but download the app and then gamble responsibly. And mailbagbloodstock.com.au. Just bought 2 really exciting 2-year-olds. Head to Gavin Bedgegood if you want to get involved or find out more. Jono at themailbag.com.au. Thank you, boys. Have a phenomenal weekend, guys. Hope you win. Bye for now.